Okay, good evening. I'd like to call the North Aurora Village Board meeting for Monday, April 4th, 2022 to order. Please join me in silent prayer and meditation. Okay, thank you. Please join me in a pledge of allegiance.
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. Roll call, please.
Mayor Gaffino.
Here.
Trustee Carroll.
Here.
Trustee Curtis. Here. Trustee Gately.
Here.
Trustee Lowry.
Here.
Trustee Nedved.
Here.
Trustee Salazar. Here.
All right, thank you. Anybody, audience comments? All right, seeing none. Consent agenda. Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion. Roll, please.
Trustee Nedved.
Yes.
Trustee Salazar.
Yes.
Trustee Carroll.
Yes.
Trustee Curtis.
Yes.
Trustee Gately.
Yes.
Trustee Lowry.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Item 1 under new business. John.
Thank you, Mayor. This item is a consideration of bids for the 750,000 gallon water tower project. At the last board meeting, the village board had requested that the contractor come back with some additional pricing for utilizing a subcontracted painter that would comply with the village apprenticeship requirements. We received those costs. The cost was an increase in $254,700 for that painting, which would increase the project from $4,119,900 to $4,374,600. Based on the pricing, the village board has several options to advance the project. So the first option would be to award the contract in the amount of the base bid, which is $4,119,900. The second option is to reject all bids and rebid the project at a future date. And then the third option would be to reject all bids, waive the bids, and approve a negotiated contract with the low bidder, CB&I, in the amount of $4,374,600. That item would require a 2/3 vote if the village board were to go that way. And then if you're going to discuss, when you discuss the options, the staff would request that you make a motion for either item number 1 and 2, kind of the way it's written in the memo, either awarding the contract in the base bid or rejecting the bids. And if you choose option number 3, we just need to be clear that we're rejecting the bids. And in that instance, there's another item on the agenda that immediately follows this one where we would consider awarding that contract in that amount of money. So with that, I just request the board take action on the item.
Yeah, I'd like to make a couple comments on that, since I've been talking to industry professionals about this particular job with the supply chain issues with the steel. Okay, so that seems to be where the increase is, the majority of the increase. I would like to see us go with option B and just reject all bids until further notice so the supply chain could catch up. So being nice to everybody that was involved in the whole process. But when you receive one bid from one contractor, we dumb down our standards and we still get one bid. I think it's the supply chain being the big issue and getting steel at a reasonable price. And in the tank, not an immediate need for us just to wait. So I would make a motion to go with item B. And that would be to reject all bids.
John, if we go with item B to reject all bids, what's our time frame? Is this something that we need to get started now, or do we have some time to wait on this?
We had, Rumpy Sharp had performed the initial needs study, and then that was confirmed by EEI. And while there,
We should get a second before we go into discussion.
sure.
Second.
Discussion. So there is not a dire immediate need is the answer. Right? If we were to wait a few years for pricing, we could survive the way we are. We have just drilled 2 new wells that allow us that additional supply to be pumped into our system. So the storage wouldn't necessarily be in the air and readily available, but we would be able to produce the water that we would need.
So in your opinion, do you think it is prudent to wait?
I think at this point, it's hard for me to make a conclusive statement on that. I would say the need is not necessarily there right now. So I think we could wait. We definitely could, whether it's the prudent move right now based on the dollar amounts. I don't know as much about the supply chain issues
And
that
there's
we're
only
having.
5 contractors in the whole country that can do this job. Now we have an issue. with
Actually,
only-
I'm not sure that's an accurate statement. I did some checking today on Google and I found a whole lot of companies that constructed elevated water tanks. So I'm not sure that's accurate. I'm
Okay.
not definitely saying it, but just so you know, there are
I'm
others.
just saying that's what I've been told. So
Yes,
I
me
don't know that
too.
I'm necessarily persuaded that we should be paying an extra $250,000 for an apprenticeship program because what do we have to lose? We have more to lose by not getting a tower than they have to lose by not getting the bid. So we don't really have, it's not going to benefit to us to say we're not going to go with a company just because they won't develop an apprenticeship program for an industry that is not a lot of vendors. So for me, I don't think that as a fiduciary of taxpayer dollars that I would go with that option. But I also don't want to wait, knowing that, we may go through another period of inflation. We may be worse off. So that's why I'm trying to see where we are with our needs evaluation.
John, how much over the original estimate is the current bid?
More than double.
The original, I can do
Wasn't it
that.
1.9?
The original
1.9
bid estimate from years
Now
ago,
we're
a
at
couple of years
4.3.
ago, was 1.9,
Tap for-
went up to 2.9.
It's
and-
2.8.
Yeah, 2.8. And then I believe our first bid, we did this the third bid. So the second bid, we got one bidder and I want to say it was around 3.8 and then this one at 4.1, readily going up. Dan Watson from MP Sharp is here. I think he indicated that there is some concern that obviously the steel prices is driving a lot of the cost. And there'd be some question of, there's always a risk that things could go higher, but steel is at such a height right now that there's also a chance it could go down. So that'd be the question that we'd have to figure
In
out.
my mind, is there an immediate need to go that much over what we estimated that it was going to cost originally? I understand that steel prices, and it was a couple of years ago, and you take those things into consideration. I don't know that if there's not an immediate need to pay that much more of the taxpayers' money when I don't know that we have to do that right now. And you're right. It may go up a little bit more, but these things tend to come down as well.
When we talked about this a few months ago, did we not consider at least getting quotes from any contractors that are not part of that joint apprenticeship program?
Yes.
I mean,
Yes, we
did we
did.
discuss that?
Yes, we did.
And did we get any of those bids?
No.
So I would like to at least see a number, if possible, if there was, companies that don't meet that apprenticeship program, just to see where we're looking at.
Well, is the
Um,
bid for the building of the water tower itself, that's not a part of the apprenticeship program, only the painting was going to be that, is that correct, or am I
No,
wrong?
No, we
it's every part of it.
dumbed down our standards to get more bids because nobody would bid it. And then we still only got one bidder.
But
that
is
bid it.
that bid part of the apprenticeship program? Do they comply with that part?
No,
See, they
the apprenticeship program was waived for the general contractor.
Right, but it was going to, but that's what I thought, and then the painting was supposed to be.
Well,
right,
it was going to be,
Painters were supposed to be part of the apprenticeship
well-
program, and the first bid they gave us, it wasn't.
yeah, but it was going to be, all the other work was supposedly going to be subbed out. But my point is simply this. It's the steel, not the labor, that's driving up the cost. I mean, we can, if you look at what the base bid was over, it's the price of steel. Steel is just quadrupled. And we only have one bid. We should have 2 bids. But for the price of steel to wait an extra year, we don't need a tank. I mean, it's not an immediate need. Steel, the supply is going to eventually catch up. Once the supply catch up, we stop spending. If people, as a rule, stop spending, the supply chain catches up. So it just makes sense for us to wait until steel prices go down. So
I would agree. I think that it doesn't make sense to spend almost double for the cost of the water tower,
more than double.
because we, because the supply chain is all messed up.
Yep, sounds good. I agree as well. So. Call question.
So you're gonna have to just remember, because we don't have it written that way, you have to, depending on the board's action, you have to make the motion to
Make-
reject.
We already did.
Make a
Okay.
motion to reject.
Yeah, there was.
Bids.
And I
Shot
had
second.
and I had second.
Right.
Trustee Gately,
Yes.
trustee Lowry,
Yes.
trustee Nedved,
Yes.
trustee Salazar,
Yes.
trustee Carroll,
Yes.
trustee Curtis.
All right, thank you. Item 2, John.
Thank you, Mayor. This item was on the agenda in case the board selected option number 3. In this instance, since it's the board's direction to reject all the bids, we would simply need a motion to reject this option.
We could also have a motion to table it. We don't, you know.
Oh, I motion to table it.
Second.
The only question, the mayor and I had spoken, and we're talking about when you table it, there's sometimes an expectation that you're bringing it back.
We're not.
And so if this option is not being pursued at this time, and we're deciding to rebid this entire project at a later date, the cleaner option would just be to vote no for this, if that's what the board wants to do.
It's, you know, up to the board. I guess we have a motion to table right now.
Okay.
So we have, you know, wait and see if there's a second. I mean, obviously, someone could make a motion to approve or to reject, either way. But we have to deal with the motion that's out now.
All right, I'll amend the motion to reject the bid.
And I'll second it.
Discussion? Roll, please.
Trustee Gately,
Yes.
trustee Lowry,
Yes.
trustee Nedved,
Yes.
trustee Salazar,
Yes.
trustee Carroll,
Yes.
trustee Curtis.
All right, thank you. Item 3, Steve.
Okay. Item number 3 on the agenda is an ordinance decreasing the number of Class H liquor licenses to 0. Standard practice, anytime a business gives up its liquor license, in this case, Valley Green Golf Course is no longer in operation. They have a golf course license. It's essentially, we mark it down to 0. So we take one out of that class. And this way, there isn't one just floating around for someone to say, hey, there's a liquor license. I would like to open a business. Can I have this? They'd have to come back to get approvals. So in that case, all we're doing is closing out the one for Valley Green and bringing that class down to 0.
Motion to approve.
Discussion?
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Trustee Salazar,
Yes.
trustee Carroll,
Yes.
trustee Curtis, trustee Gately,
Yes.
trustee Lowry,
Yes.
trustee Nedved.
Yes.
All right, thank you. That concludes our new business. Village President report. I have none. Trustee comments?
I had a question more than a comment. Does the village maintain the lights on the bridge for the pointing at the dam? Is that the village's responsibility?
We
Is that- All right, but I noticed one of them at least is pointing down.
Okay.
I don't know if they're burned out, but I know at least 1 or 2 of them is
Yeah,
pointing down.
we'll get those.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Administrator report?
Just one quick thing. So what we'll do from the staff perspective from now on at this point is we'll go back and we'll start monitoring. Dan Watson from Rumpy Sharp monitors the steel prices for us during this process. So we'll just try to see if there's a drop at some point in the near future. And when we start to see a trend, that might be the time to bring it back up for discussion, to go back out. That's it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Village Department reports? Any? Motion adjourned.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 All right, thank you. We're meeting shortly for the committee of the whole.